Actually went through and talked about what we've been talking about, how Biden's been trying to thwart President Trump at every level, including this orders of succession, the spending of the money, how the money's financed, things they're doing at the border. They have been united in trying to make this the most difficult transition ever. President Trump is very upfront about that. I think what they're doing in Ukraine, obviously President Trump got this deal done in Gaza. Now you should know, it looks like the ceasefire is already kind of coming apart a little bit. I think from the Frank Gaffneys of the world, the different folks we have in the Victory Coalition and the guys and men and women that come on the show and talk about it, they're not happy about it. They think it's a complete capitulation to Hamas. They think the pressure was put on Netanyahu was not appropriate. But hey, they're huge supporters of President Trump. President Trump wanted a ceasefire. He wanted things to calm down before he came to office, and it looks like he tried to get it. I think Witkoff is very involved in that. Witkoff, I think, was in Qatar and went to see Bibi and kind of laid down the law. This is what's got to be. But as we see it right now, I think that's coming a little unwound. Same with this Ukraine situation. Obviously, our advice in the war room and from Ben Harnwell and everybody is that you have to come out, I think, on day one and lay down the law. Otherwise, Kagan and these guys are showing you they're going to try to trap President Trump. What they're saying of is traps everywhere, traps in finance. And you're going to see that with Scott Besson today. You saw yesterday with Russ Vought. In Russ Vought, they're trying to trap him the entire time about spending, about cutting programs, about entitlements, all of it. All they're doing is laying traps. They're not there to be helpful. This is not supportive. This is not like a transition where somebody won. You come in and say, "Okay, we lost. You won. How can we be helpful?" It's not like that at all. It's the exact opposite. In the Biden the executive branch in Biden has been the worst of the worst. Just absolutely terrible. Today is I don't think Pam. So Pam Bondi's up for round two. Her yesterday was, and she's going to get confirmed. She was, I think, magnificent, given the pressure she's under with Gates leaving. Obviously, Gates has a different House style, much more aggressive, much more about the investigations. The TV rights for a Gates confirmation at the Justice Department would have been, top 5 viewing for the year. Pam has a very different style, but it was fantastic. I think she answered all the questions, and she answered them in an appropriate way. She didn't take the bait. She didn't take the bait, and that's hard when you're sitting up there hour after hour and they're just pounding you, and you're at that table alone, because you really are. It just shows you. It shows you. She did with a lot of class, a lot of style, and kind of steel toughness, steel magnolia, right? Not going to flinch. Not going to let Shifty Schiff get on her. Not going to let. She was barrage, just like Heck. It was not as nasty as Heck says. Heck says took on a personal animosity, but particularly the female Democratic senators. They were kind of harridans that day, just after him. I thought it was a terrible look for them. That's what Pete's getting through. I think it's one of the reasons Joni Ernst said, "Hey, I'm all in." We've got Scott Besson. They've come up with this thing about his taxes. They're going to hammer him on that. Look, he's like everybody. They're aggressive on their taxes, right? And it's he's going to get pummeled by the Democrats on that. It's all phony. It's all made up. They're going to come after him hard on tax and tariffs, all of it. So that'll be interesting. Lee Zeldin, they're going to get into the questions. It's going to be brutal. We're going to cut back and forth from the wisdom of yours truly. I'll put this in context the entire time. And what we saw, we got tremendous feedback from the audience. We're the only one to do this. We think it's important. It's important for the cadre and the war room posse to understand the angle of attack that the Senate's going to take. Senate is obviously a major player, particularly in going forward. And you see the Democrats, and they're coming out their true colors.